How do you look? How'd you look at tonight's game? I mean, there's a lot we could pick at. They in the fourth quarter they took over. They won. They got last night I made reference to they're going to have the game. I picked Sam Hauser. I said maybe Hauser could start. So I'm glad Al was listening and responded finally. So it was the Al Horford game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't going to keep missing them. I mean, over the last 2 seasons, he's one of the most efficient 3-point shooters in the league. So you knew eventually he was going to come out of it. I just thought he didn't have his legs and was tired or whatever it may be. He got home and got in his own bed for a little while, and you saw the results, man. Whole little home cooking. And good thing about him though, he was missing early on, but he never hesitated. I'm gonna hit the next one. I'm gonna hit. He never hesitated. And once he got it going, that was all she wrote for the Cavs. But I think the Celtics, again, like they've done it in every game in this series, really. They took a stretch. This time it was in the fourth quarter, where they said, all right, enough's enough. Let's turn it up on these dudes. Let's go to that other gear we keep talking about. And the Cavs had no answers for it on either end. And they just walked away with this one in the end. After a 3-point game in the fourth quarter, and it wasn't really close after the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game.
Yep, I think that they rolled the balls out there. They kind of just played through the motions. Tatum was focused. Derek White got his shot back. Peyton Pritchard hit a couple of shots off the bench. And then they just kind of stayed in it. And then Horford finally started getting some shots going down. Then Jaylen Brown started getting involved. They started passing the ball a little bit better. They had, I think, 17 assists in the first half. That was one of the things I mentioned at halftime. So I thought they were passing the ball pretty well. I don't know what really happened in that third quarter, though. I think they kind of went away from that and started playing their own game. But, these are the things people are going to bring up, Cerrone, as this is the problem with the team. They go into these lapses. My whole thing is they did it in their sleep tonight and still won by double digits.
Exactly. The fact that they can do that in the middle of games and just come out of it like, all right, let's get this going. But again, this is the same thing that's been happening in my Heat series and this series, and the games they lost, the 2 games they lost, and the games that were kind of close. Every time it's somebody having a extraordinary night. Marcus Morris had the best night in the last 3 years of his career. He was the hottest he's been probably since he was a Celtic. He came off the bench. I think he had like 7 points for the whole series. He comes off the bench. He gives you 20 plus. He was hitting everything. That's how every time the Celtics went on a run to bring it to 10, he hit a 3, cut it to 7. He cut it from 7 to 4. He kept hitting shots. And when they stopped falling or he stopped getting the ball, the Cavs just slowly couldn't keep up anymore. Every game in this series that they've either won or been close, same with the Heat series, someone or the team has an extraordinary half a quarter that is just unbelievable, and they keep it close. If you don't do that against the Celtics, you're not even in the game. And Morris kept them in the game, and Mobley had the game of his life, career highs as well. And it's still, like you said, they still won by double digits. I mean, you have to give them credit.
Yep. And how about Marcus Morris tonight, huh? Just said,
It's
if
ridiculous.
I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out swinging. And he kept him in the game tonight. It makes me wonder if they should have used him a little bit more in the series.
You know what? Would he have gotten the touches, though, if Mitchell was playing? We talked about last time we was on how, no, the team might not be better without their stars, but other guys get opportunities. If Mitchell's out there, Mitchell's getting 35 shots up. So all these shots you're seeing from these secondary guys, Mobley, Garland, Morris, Strus, who got going early, they're not getting the same amount of touches if Donovan Mitchell's on the court. But, they saw Morris all season, and they didn't think it was good enough for him to be out there that much. So maybe not. He probably wouldn't have gelled with Mitchell and those other guys out there on the court.
All right, we'll line up the phone lines here at 617-779-0985. I don't want to sit here, Cerrone, and tell you I thought the Celtics were great and played a complete game and dominated and all that, because that all didn't happen tonight.
No, they were chilling.
Yep, they were chilling. What I do think happened was their star player, Jason Tatum, had a great performance, but they also got Al Horford his looks tonight, knocked down his big shots, and now he has momentum because he's been carrying the load. Let's just be honest here. He's looked his age. he's still trying out there. Shots weren't going down, but with Porzingis out, he's had to take on a significant role. Tonight, his role was to defend Garland. That was out. The fact that he did that defensively and put up those offensive numbers, credit to Horford. And another thing, one other thing, if you saw this, do you know that he almost had a double-double in the fourth quarter? He had 8 points and 9 rebounds alone in the fourth quarter tonight.
That's incredible. And he was blocking everything too. And to have the legs to hit, like you said, the legs to hit those shots. I mean, that's an incredible effort from him. Old school warrior, but you saw he was bringing the energy in the second quarter. Even when he wasn't hitting all the threes, he was trying to get the crowd involved. He was rotating well. And, on the TNT broadcast, they were dogging him like, oh, you can't. This Al Horford, you're not going to win a championship with Al Horford playing like this. And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, what game are y'all watching? It's like, he can't play defense this way. He can't play offense this way. But yet he's having the best game of the playoffs for him anyway. And they just criticized him the whole halftime. But he came out and I'm pretty sure he sent the message to everyone. Even though the first question they asked Tatum and the post game on TNT was, is Al Horford good enough to defend against the teams in the Western Conference, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah, we have some Draymond stuff for us later in the show here. Well, I've seen enough of it. You've probably got a chance to hear it. I haven't. I've seen it. Yep. So Skaz got it rolling. So we'll get that up for us coming up in just a little bit. But that's really to talk about tonight's game. We can do it. It wasn't pretty. They did enough. And the only thing I will say is that the way that they played in the fourth quarter and closed it out, they also got a little bit of a rush back. But the way that they closed it out, I like that. And they started making the extra pass again, which is something that worked out early in the first quarter. So I think and Barkley even said it himself. He goes, if they don't make that extra pass or do those things like you saw in the first half, they're going to struggle scoring. So, we know it. They take a lot of threes, right? Well, we've been talking about their 3-point numbers have been down in games. Tonight, I don't really take much away from it besides the fact that they blew up in the fourth quarter and closed the door.
Yeah. They started hitting them. When you start hitting, they went back to hitting them. They really weren't off all night. I think the ball just stuck. They were just killing the shot clock, getting late in the shot clocks, wasn't moving fast, wasn't running, wasn't getting the transition. So it was late shot clock, and they were hitting threes and miss, hit and miss, back and forth. They shot a good percentage from the 3-point line. They shot a good percentage from the floor. I thought they were a pretty efficient team. They were just playing slow. And it looked like we got a 10-point lead in the third quarter. Let's kill clock and go home. Nobody get hurt. Let's try not to kill ourselves here. And the Cavs didn't agree with that. The Cavs wanted to push it. You saw, like I said, Morris was going. They were still playing hard. They wouldn't go away. And eventually the Celtics just made them go away. But I think all in all, they played what I expected. I expected them to play perfect. Knowing all those guys was out, you're naturally going to ease up a little bit. And you saw it today. And the Cavs, like I said, their role players were money tonight and kept them in that game for as long as they could. But the Celtics, they did what they were supposed to do, and it wasn't anything really special outside of that.
Our buddy Hooch checking in, who called in last week. We got in a nice little debate. Surprising stat tonight, the Celtics had a record playoff high 32 assists on 42 field goals tonight.
Yeah.
I saw them pass the ball. I didn't realize it was that many.
Yeah, and they missed a lot of open shots, too. Tatum probably could have had 15 assists if they hit some of the open shots that he was giving those guys off driving kicks. But yeah, that's an impressive stat considering they're getting, you're going to hear the Draymond stuff, but considering they were getting destroyed nationally for a team that doesn't move the ball. They were called up for not being able to score and not being a team that moves the ball, even though they had one of the highest offensive ratings of any team in NBA history, and they had 32 assists by the end of the game.